Okay. Hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hi. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this live. I will post a replay for those who won't be able to watch it, but fear of judgment. Why I would say that it's one of the most common fears that people come to me for, right? Because I specialize in anxiety, and fear of judgment gives and triggers a lot of anxiety, worry, overthinking, overwhelming, and even catastrophizing, right? So I'm doing this on YouTube as well. So I will be able to post it on both in even 3 platforms, right? But fear of judgment. When I started to do my hypnotherapy practice, fear of judgment, I didn't really have that much of clients, but in a month or two, almost every other client came to me was the fear of criticism or the fear of judgment. And because I work with the subconscious mind, right, I was able to show them why, right? Because logically they know I know it doesn't matter. I know that whatever people say about me, it doesn't matter. And logic is 5%. Logically, you know everything. You're super smart. Everyone, each of us knows logically what should be done or shouldn't be done, how we should feel or how we shouldn't feel. Isn't that right? Please comment on YouTube. I see there is someone. But yeah, comment if you feel like, if you don't know that, you know how you should feel or you shouldn't feel, right? However, very often, 95% of our life, our emotions and feelings, and I'm going to talk a lot today about subconscious mind and how and why our emotions, which is fears, right? Our feelings start to control us. Start to control us and not the other way around. Also, another reason why, one reason why we have fear of judgment is because we are driven by our subconscious mind, right? It's 95%, it's strong, right? This is why it's so hard to overcome it, by the way, right? Any fear that you have, fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of loneliness. This is why it's so hard, because it's in the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind likes to hide, right? To hide and be there and just trigger. But as well, because 95% of us, and me including, right? I start to go on that path of not being those 95%, but as well, it's a path, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So 95% of us, of every people in the world, they live unconsciously. What does that mean? It means that on the physical level, right? So material, physical level, satisfying basic needs, physical needs, right? And feeding emotions, right? So if you have, for example, if you're tired, you're exhausted, you come home, you will have a couple of options how to recover, how to reset. But 95% will choose Netflix, wine, alcohol, numbing, shutting down, distracting, right? All of these. So 95% will choose the easiest to feed the emotions and the feelings, the easiest way. 5%, right, will choose reading a book, right? Meditation, and all of the other things that are beneficial for your health, right? So that's why fear of judgment is so common, right? And also because we feel, and why do we live unconsciously? Why all of our most of our day is about spiking the emotion, feeding on that emotion and trying to prolong that emotion. Have you noticed that, right? If you notice that, like, I want to be happy, and we want it, and we want that happiness to be forever. We want it, we want to feel happy all the time on the even level. But it's like, it's impossible. It's impossible. So, because our emotions, right, they are designed in a way that it's never enough. It's never enough. So I'm going to draw you. I love to draw, right? So I'm going to draw you a little structure, right? And it's going to be easier for you to understand 3 levels of your consciousness. And where is that fear of judgment, right? Once you understand about your mind, and it wasn't like it came to me. No, I learned it as well during my courses, right? I learned it, and it just helped me tremendously. I know that there is like a ring light, right? But I'll try to make it more precise. So the first level that we try to satisfy is our subconscious mind, right? So let's go like this. This is your subconscious mind. These are your feelings and emotions. 95% of your mind. How does subconscious mind defines what it wants and what it doesn't want? Only by 2 factors: what is pleasurable and what is not. Right? So what's pleasurable, even if it's not healthy, doesn't matter. No. Subconscious mind doesn't know what's right or wrong, what's beneficial or not beneficial. Subconscious mind only knows what's pleasurable or not. So to feed, to receive pleasure, right? This is why when you are in intimate relationship, right, you use your emotions and feelings, right? And mind doesn't really get in there, right? Because once you start to go into your logic during the intimate relationship, this is why you start to like really, right, you don't feel in the moment. So subconscious mind only knows pleasure or not pleasure. Fear of judgment is very unpleasurable. It's painful. So whatever is painful, your mind will reject it. Hello, everyone. So whatever it is, right, it will reject it. Reject fear of judgment. It will run away from it. It will avoid the situation, right? Why fear of rejection holds us back from achieving the goals. Sometimes deep inside, we know what we want. For example, I worked as a financial advisor, for example, for 25 years. And, I've achieved a lot. But deep inside, I always wanted to be, a server at the restaurant. Always. I love talking to people, right? So, and we cannot even go there. 25 years into this job that we don't like, but we cannot. Why? Because we are afraid that we're going to be judged. How could he, from this status, to go right back into serving, right? They are afraid, right? It's painful because fear of judgment is just a symptom. Underneath, there are these primal big fears that we have, and we're going to talk about that. So your subconscious mind only operates what's pleasure and not pleasure, right? And most of the people live just here. What's pleasure, I'm going to take it. What's not pleasure, I'm not going to take it, right? Another part of your mind, the level of consciousness, is your logic, right? This little part of you. So if this one only operates what's pleasure and what's not pleasure, what's painful, right? So let me put it painful, right? I hope you see it. Painful. It will reject it, right? This is why we get frustrated, by the way, right? We get angry when something doesn't feed our emotions, right? Something doesn't go with it, right? We will get really, really frustrated. Logic. What logic does? Logic operates but what's right and what's not right. Logic, right? Logic operates by what's not right. So technically, because it's so small, right? Like, I mean, it's that part that operates your emotions, was supposed to operate your emotions. It's just so small that, but it's small, but it's very strong. So it operates by what's right and what's not right. Right? So what is right, for example, eating junk food is not right. But the emotions, 95%, right? They will be like, no. Do you remember that they help us? They help us to numb the feeling. They help us to overcome that rejection or that judgment that we experience today at work or in our business or in our relationship, right? Whatever it is, it helps us to numb, to soothe the pain, right? So that will be like, let's get pleasure. Let's get, even if it's for a little bit. This is why, by the way, we feel so crappy after that, after we eat something or binge on food, right? It's because the logic switches on next. It's like, this is not right. This is not the right way, right? You know it's not good. It's not, you know it's not good for your life and for your health, right? So what is good? What is right? What is good or wrong? How will it define it, right? It will define by for example, expectations, limiting beliefs, right? Social standards, norms, how your parents parented you and raised you. So all of these, how it's going to define what's wrong or right, right? And logically, because you're very smart, right? You will know that fear of judgment is not about you, right? It's about them. It's about their pain. It's about their limiting beliefs, right? You know, logically, you know. So these 5% will talk to these, to the subconscious mind, telling, I know it's right, it's okay, I know it's okay. But it's so strong that it only wants to avoid pain. And fear of judgment is connected to pain, right? At some point, somewhere in your childhood, it connected it to pain. Another part of you, by the way, this is the most interesting part. And if you're watching the replay or you're watching right now, this is what you need to realize, because this is your power. Not here, not here. This is your power. And this is going to be you, right? This is going to be your soul. What is that part? This part that we shut down long ago. We forget about it. This is why, you know how people feel. They come, they feel depression. I know this dog is like, go, 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 go. We feel depressed, right? Or we feel not good. We feel like don't feel like myself. I feel like I'm a shell. If anyone ever had that moment in their life when they felt, I feel like I'm a shell. I'm a shell of a person. I don't feel myself. This means that you've gone so far away from here, into here and into here. These are your states of consciousness. Okay? These are your states of consciousness, right? How it's supposed to be. And where is the judge, by the way? And why am I talking about that? Because this is your biggest understanding. This is your basic foundation to understand any fear, not only fear of judgment, right? But any fear. So when you are in here, this one, how does it operate? It only operates by what's beneficial and what's not beneficial for you, your mind and your body, and other people, right? So it's like you are part of the universe, right? So this is your soul. So it will operate what is beneficial. Don't mix it with right. Right or wrong is only based on your programming, based on your program's social expectations, right? This is what you feel inside, what you actually feel inside. So beneficial and not beneficial. And this one doesn't triggered by emotions. If logic is triggered by emotion, if subconscious mind is triggered, right? It's all emotions. This one doesn't care about emotions. So if you're here in this state of consciousness, no, nothing really triggers you. Nothing really triggers you. So how was it supposed to be ideally? How it was supposed to be ideally? Ideally, you're here, you're connected to yourself, right? You're connected to yourself. Your logic is your tool. Doesn't control it, it's your tool, right? So if it's your tool, then you have to use your logic to get what you want. For example, right, to learn new stuff, new things, to experience, right, to analyze, to connect, right, to all of those functions of the logic. And if you're here, you are controlling your subconscious mind. So you're controlling your emotions, right? So fear, anyone's judgment or criticism doesn't really affect you at all, because this one is not triggered by emotions. There is no pain here. There is no pain here. But we are not here. In most cases, we are here. How it's now, in most cases, in 95% of people, right? How it is, you're here all the time, right? Feeding all of these emotions, right? Or a little bit here. And there is a conflict here. There is a conflict here. There is a complete disconnection here, right? But it doesn't mean that it's not there. Your soul, you, right? Sometimes we're questioning ourselves. Who am I? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm living my life, living my purpose, living my meaning, right? If you're questioning that, any question that you give to yourself, why? It's just because the disconnection here happened. Doesn't mean that you cannot reconnect. No, 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 no. That's why it is. So what happens with the fear of rejection, of the judgment, right? So someone judged you in your adulthood. Your subconscious mind here doesn't know time. It regresses you back to the same pain you experienced when you were judged in your childhood, or in your even in your adulthood. It doesn't matter, right? It just doesn't know time, doesn't understand time. If it doesn't understand time, right, it doesn't really realize that I'm not 5, I'm not 8, right? So fear of judgment, you will have all the emotions, all the procrastination or overthinking, overwhelmed here, right? It's because you're completely here, and the subconscious mind doesn't know time. Remember, right? So if you're mostly here, right, fear of judgment, it will show up in procrastination, right? Not doing what you love, right? Not trying even, right? Social anxiety, by the way, social anxiety to the point of panic attacks is because of that fear of rejection, right? Fear of judgment. Like, I feel like everyone is looking at me. I feel like everyone is looking at me and there is something wrong with me, and they feel, and I'll have a panic attack, and that's going to be such a huge embarrassment. Fear of embarrassment, right? Very closely connected to fear of judgment. If you are in your logic, you know those people who are in their mind a lot, very analytical, they shut down, suppress the subconscious, right? They start to, by the way, people who are very, very in control, like in their logic, right? They usually are trying to control things, right? Analyzing everything, right? Trying to control, because they shut down this part so much, right? And it's not a bad thing, by the way. Logic helps us to achieve goals. Logic helps us to achieve goals. So this is very important. It doesn't mean that you don't have to use it. You just need to know how to use it. So it doesn't drive you. It doesn't control you. Because all of these, if you give control to subconscious mind, you give control to logic, they both are going to give you pain. Both in different ways, but pain. So if you are very analytical, if you are in your logic a lot, how does fear of judgment shows up? You start to deny it, right? You start, yes, absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. Please ask. Yeah, if you, I have a question. Absolutely. So ask a question. I'm going to answer it for sure. So if you are in your logic, right? How the fear of judgment will show up, right? Usually, people will suppress it, deny things, right? They will be better, by the way, coping better with any judgment, right? They will be more analytical. They know that, oh, it's okay, right? It's okay. There is nothing wrong with it, right? But deep inside, that part, right, will be still hurting, because like they're still not here, right? Only here doesn't hurt. These two hurt, right? How people decompress the pain. People who are very in their mind. Gym, overworking out. Have you seen these people who work out 2 times a day in the gym, you know, trying to uh, so I don't know really what the question is. So yeah. So if you are by the way, working out, right? Over controlling things, right? So if people are in their organization, right, they will try to control every step, right? Being very logical is great, but at the same time, it still brings pain. What happens with the fear of judgment here? What happens here? Well, nothing. You become indifferent to judgment. And by the way, you become very compassionate to people who judge because you stop judging yourself. I'm going to talk about judgment, right? About this feeling of judgment. Um, when you're here, you become indifferent. However, not to the point of, aggression, right? Not to the point of anger or frustration with when you hear judgment or when someone judges you, right? It's to the point of, oh, I understand. I'm so sorry you're in pain. I cannot do anything about it. So if you are here, right, you don't have any pain. You don't have any emotions here because you control them, right? And they don't control you. And people say, well, it's easier said than done, right? I'll tell you this. It is a process. We spent a lot of years going away from here, right? So it's not like you can right away jump into here, but just knowing how it's supposed to be. What is supposed to be? You are the master of your mind. So you control your logic and you control your subconscious mind. However, it's the other way around, right? The subconscious mind controls the logic, and they both are controlling you. You are not your emotion. As much as I would love to tell you that you are not your emotions, right? So, and if you're not your emotions is just this part of us. It's our tool. It's our tool. So if you feel like, oh, I feel depressed, it's me. No, your emotions are not you. It's your tool that took control of you at some point, right? And if you gain back that control, this is where it becomes so much easier, right? Um, with the fear of judgment, one of the most emotional part that when I talk to people about fear of judgment, I always ask, who and what do you judge? When people say, I'm afraid of judgment, I have social anxiety, I have panic attacks when I'm in a social setting, I am afraid of criticism, I have a fear of rejection, right? Who do you criticize and who do you judge? If we know how to name the feeling, we have experienced that ourselves. So if you are afraid of judgment, there is someone or there is something that you judge, and it could be ourselves, right? We can judge ourselves as well. So when we start to judge ourselves, we will receive exactly the same energy back. It could be in a different form. The universe always knows what to give us and in what form. And it's sometimes very confusing because you cannot connect. The logic, right, cannot connect. Cannot connect all of those things. But it doesn't mean that it's not there. So, who do you judge in your life? Maybe you judge government, right? Maybe you judge uh, politicians, right? Maybe you judge the school system, the healthcare, right? We sometimes feel, oh, I don't judge, but I'm afraid of judgment. In most cases, every single person I ask, who do you judge? And they will find someone. Yes, I actually do. I actually do it myself, right? When I was and I had this fear as well, and it sometimes still spikes, right? Because I always know because previously I judged someone or something, right? Something wasn't in my picture of my world, right? If something is not in your picture of the world, if something is not in your mind, doesn't exist, your mind will reject it, right? So if, for example, you are not happy with the prices that are going up right now, you start to judge whoever is in the government or the world, or you're gonna judge, rich people, wealthy people. You're gonna judge. If you do that, you will receive exactly the same energy, and sometimes it's in this Fear of judgment, fear that someone will not accept me. Also, fear of judgment is in every case, just a symptom, right? Underneath is this simple fear of not being accepted. And your mind can connect a different level of emotion to it. So some people will just be afraid of judgment. They might procrastinate a little bit, or they might be over apologizing, right? People pleasing, right? As well, right? Fear of judgment is showing up in these coping mechanisms. But if you connected a very strong emotion, if you connected a very strong emotion to the fear of judgment, then fear of judgment will become like the end, right? And it's going to create a panic attack, or it's going to create a feeling of constant anxiety, right? And when we have something that is very constant, when it feels very permanent, reoccurring, right? They start to diagnose us with disorder, right? A generalized anxiety disorder, right? Or any other type of disorder. So if you connected a very strong feeling to the judgment, always fear of rejection, right? Because what is it? What is it really? What is fear of judgment? I'm afraid that someone will not accept my point of view. Someone will not accept my action, my behavior, right? Someone will tell me criticizing words because I didn't do something that is up to their expectations. You were born not to meet someone's expectations. You were born to meet your own expectations, right? And to give into this world and to receive, right? And to be a part of the universe. So you were born to be a soul, right? Not just a living creature. No, you were born. This is your different. This is a difference. You have a soul, right? You have a connection. So call it a divine, call it universe, call it God, whatever it is. For each of you, it's going to be different. But if you deny that part, that's where the pain comes in. If you want to overcome fear of judgment, you can work on all three levels, right? As I did, right? All three levels. So on the subconscious level, right? What do you do, right? What do you do in order to overcome fear of judgment? In three steps, in only three steps. First, on the subconscious level, the strongest part of you, on the emotional level, you resolve the conflict of being judged. So find out the conflict, find out where you judged or criticized, right? So you resolve that part, that subconscious conflict, right? The pain that is there, just by understanding, And that's like your first step. That's going to be a release, like it's going to be a liberation, the first step. The second step, you work on your logic. How can you work on your logic, right? With your logic, you can only train it. You can only train it. It's like a muscle, right? So if subconscious mind you resolve, right, liberate it, release the pain, then with the logic you train. Programming your mind, repetition, making unfamiliar familiar, right? I'm pretty sure you have so many different ways how you can do it, but logic, 8 months training, once training. On a soul level, on your own level, right? Stop judging. Right? If you want to overcome a fear of judgment, you need to stop judging yourself. And it's funny how a lot of people say that I don't judge. I don't. If people don't judge, they don't have a pain. Because if they don't judge, they accept everyone's behavior, everyone's words. They maybe distance themselves from those people. Maybe they filter the information that comes in their mind. But in reality, people who don't judge, who accept, who are understanding, they don't have the pain. So if you have a fear of judgment, right, this is one of the hardest for your subconscious mind. You can understand things on three levels. Your subconscious mind will reject it. Your subconscious mind will not like the information that I'm telling you. Right? If I'm telling you that if you want to overcome the fear of judgment, you need to stop judging yourself, right? Judging yourself or other people, other things, other systems, this will not like it. Your subconscious mind will reject, will probably criticize, or will do all of these things that just to reject this idea. Your logic will be, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I just have to figure out how to do that. This is how it's going to react to my words. And soul, you, real you, right? How you gonna react to these words? You're gonna resonate, because this is absolute truth, right? You can do whatever you want, research it, right? But it's an absolute truth. You cannot deny it. So on the soul level, on that higher conscious level, you're going to resonate with it. It's like, yes, I need to work on that, right? That was my biggest pain as well, by the way. If you have a fear of judgment, you need to first realize, what is it holding you back from? What is it holding you back from? For example, it can hold you back from trying something new, right? Say no, right? By the way, and I'll tell you this: when I moved to Canada, my parents were very against my immigration process. Right? They were shocked, and they judged. It's their. I'm not mad at them at all. Right? I understand why they did it, because their ego was hurt so much. Right? They love me. They love me so much that they attached their happiness to me being there with them. So they started to judge. And I was so afraid of judgment. I was so seeking their validation that every time when I went to Canada, I started to find excuses to tell them all the beautiful things, right, that are happening here in Canada. So I started to kind of lie. Really, I started to lie, even though it was actually beautiful, right? There were challenges, there were fears, there were challenges, there were all of the, but I didn't say that. I lied. I said everything is good, everything is okay, right? I actually enjoyed it. Please admit that I did it, that I made a good choice. Okay, so we start to lie, even to avoid, right, that judgment, right? To seek validation. We start to lie even without wanting. Really deeply inside, we don't want that, but because we want that validation, still we want that acceptance, right? We start to not say the truth. That's what happened to me. Or we start to justify things, right? Oh yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that anyway. Anyway, it's too hard, right? If you question yourself, right, regarding procrastination, right? Procrastination can be a result, right, of the fear of criticism and fear of judgment. So if you want to overcome that, right, you start bringing yourself closer to your soul. Remember, logic and your subconscious mind are supposed to be your tools. They were not supposed to drive your behaviors. They were supposed to be your tools. Kind of like you have a phone that reminds you. You have a phone that reminds you of the events that you have. The same with your emotions. They just alert you, right? Oh, this is good, or this is not good, right? But you control it, right? Emotions and feelings also alert you of the danger, of the real danger in this world, so that it can keep your emotion, your subconscious mind function is to keep your body alive, to keep your body living as long as possible. But trust me, it's not always does that. It doesn't do that, because with all of the things, all of the limiting beliefs we have, right? Our subconscious mind drives us to get everything right now and right here, not thinking about consequences, not thinking about results, not thinking about the karma, whatever it is, right? It just wants now and here. So remember, right? Your subconscious mind is like that. When you are in your logic a lot, this is where the all the thinking, overthinking, and overwhelm happens, so that you disconnect, right? If you decide, oh, okay, I have to shut down that subconscious mind, I'm just going to be in my logic, analyzing everything, right? How many times you go to bed and you have 25,000 thoughts about everything that can go wrong, about everything, and it's like a battle. It's like a battle between your subconscious mind and your logic. Your logic will say, no, everything is okay, you're good, be grateful for what you have. Right? And then the subconscious mind is like, no, I'm going to give you all of these triggers, because you need to satisfy me. So your subconscious mind and your logic became your masters, right? Your master, which started to drive. And this is why all of the emotional pain and physical pain is coming from. This is a foundation, right? So when you have a physical symptom, do you know what does that mean? It means that you have already, I'm doing that on both. Mostly did it on Instagram, but I'm sure that people will still enjoy the YouTube video as well. When you have a physical symptom, right? It means that you have already missed all the previous signs of alert. You missed it already. So the physical body is the last, right, manifestation of everything that is happening in you. If you have any physical symptoms, it means that you have already missed all the signs that something is not working, not living on purpose, not following your path, right? Pleasing, not standing up for yourself, not showing up for yourself, right? Not really doing what you love, right? All of those things, suppressing, numbing, pleasing all the only emotions, right? You've missed all of that, all of those signs. And the physical body is the last level of manifestation. It shows up in our physical symptoms, right? So if you have fear of judgment, that manifests in the anxiety, right? And this feeling of restricted chest, right? Not feeling really well, right? It means that it's already going into your physical level. It's like the last level, right? Because there is no other way to tell you what is wrong, right? Maybe you'll feel these little, we feel a lot of emotions and we suppress them. But when the physical symptom comes up, okay, now I need to go to the doctor. It's time. It's time to figure it out, right? But everything happens much, much earlier, way earlier than you think. So I hope that you will be able to go back. And by the way, I'll show you a little trick or little practice, I would say, right? How you can actually uh, understand that your emotions and your logic, it's not you, it's your tools to get what you want, right? To be happy, by the way, to be fulfilled, to be this given person that actually receives the same in return. So when you close your eyes, I want you to really take a deep breath in. If you're watching this right now in live, or you are watching a replay, it doesn't matter. The energy is still there. I'm sending that energy, right, to you, the healing energy, right? You close your eyes, right? And you can imagine when you close your eyes, you start to really go inwards, and it's easy, it's effortless, right? Even if the thoughts are coming your way, don't overthink them. Let them in, observe, and let them go. And when you do that, when you look inside, I want you to really connect to your feelings and emotions whenever they are. And for many people, for many of you, it will be in your heart, in your chest, right? And you will feel those different emotions. For some people, it's going to be positive, relaxation. For some people, you will be worried or some tension, right? So your feelings and emotions, they create energy, and that energy will depend, right? The feeling, how you feel that energy will be different, right? Could be tension, could be relaxation, could be a little tingling sensation, could be butterflies, could be restricted chest. It doesn't matter really. You're not only observing that. You observe that, right? And you also go into your head, right? You focus your attention, right between your eyes. When you focus your attention right between your eyes, let's think it's your logic, right? It's your analyzing, it's your connection, right? Everything you do with your logic, right? And your soul, you, are somewhere else. It's not that. It's like at the back. It's like at the back. So I want you to be at the back of that point. If you are focusing your attention between your eyes, with your closed eyes, right? Focus that little energy between your eyes. This is your logic. And in your chest, in your heart, you can even put your hand on your chest, these are your feelings and emotions, right? I want you to go back, be kind of like at the back of this image, right? So what that would be you. You look at your logic, you look at your thoughts, you look at your chest, right? You look at your emotions, and you know that they are all influenced by different factors in the world, but deep inside, you just want to be happy. You just want to be loved and to love yourself, to accept yourself just the way you are. So that soul, right? That tiny little light on the back of this image, right? That is you. That absolute truth, that divine energy that is not triggered by anyone. That is not really hurting because it knows the truth. And the truth that you are you. You deserve to be in this world. You deserve to be happy. You deserve the healing. And by the healing, I mean so many different processes that will happen in your life. So that light, that another part of, you can feel it somewhere, and it will be different for anyone. But the more you do this practice, the more you will connect to yourself, right? You shut down that with your logic, with your thoughts, what's right and what's wrong, with your feelings, what's pleasurable and not, what's painful and what's not. But on the back of that, it's your soul, just your soul. It knows what it wants. It wants peace. It's not affected by emotions or logic or thoughts or overwhelm. It's just there. It wants to be happy. It was born, by the way, that part, you were born as a little baby. You didn't know about social expectations. You didn't know what guilt is. You didn't know what shame is. You didn't know all of that. Right? You were completely connected, knowing that everything is great, everything is amazing. And then when we start to, to experience life, right? This is where the suffering comes. And for many of us, it was a lot. But at the same time, it's like it's evolving. Your life, your soul is evolving all the time. It's growing, right? And it's outside of your physical form, by the way, right? Whether you want to accept it or not, it is still there. The truth is always there. And you know that, right? So when you open your eyes, if you do this practice, try to do it as often as you can so that you connect to that part, your soul, right? It's somewhere there. It doesn't matter. It will be different for everyone. Don't put expectations on that at all, right? It will be you. It will be just you. But when you do that practice many times, you will start to really disconnect from your subconscious mind, from your feelings and emotions, and you start to observe them. You start to be curious about them because your soul doesn't understand that, right? It's not attached to the pain, not attached to the expectations, desires, right? Opinions of other people. And then when someone expresses their judgment or criticism towards you, right? You will be completely indifferent, like completely indifferent. Because there is a big difference between I don't care and I'm indifferent, right? When you say I'm indifferent, it means that I understand why they do that. And I'm not mad at them, right? When you say I don't care, I don't care, I really don't care, right? It means that there is something that you are numbing or suppressing. Right? So there should be this unconditional love towards everyone because everyone has a right to make their own choices. We are not in their body, we are not in their mind, we cannot judge, right? But we still do because we have our own experiences, and our purpose of life is to find that balance, right? To find that balance. To find that balance where you can use your emotions, right? However, without these spikes. Remember that when you have a very big spike of happiness, nothing is permanent. You're going to have a very, very down spike of disappointment or pain, right? So you're going to have that balance. How can I balance? And that your soul knows how to do that. You just have to go back to it and reconnect. And then whenever someone is judging, whenever you feel or you see that, it's going to be like a compassion, understanding, and that's indifference because you're not letting it in, right? It doesn't bother you at all. So I hope this was very valuable for you. Please rewatch it. I will post a replay, and I hope that, thank you. And I hope that it brought some clarity for you, right? And you can absolutely see how is that and how you can absolutely reconnect with yourself and overcome any fear of judgment and fear of criticism, fear of rejection, and fear of failure. So I love you all. Be healthy emotionally and physically. I have to go. Bye.